Hello folks, welcome to a brand new Let's Play. I'm trying something new. I'm doing a DOSBox game, which has its own craziness involved with it. I am doing Gateway 2, Homeworld. Originally on CD-ROM. July 25th, 2112. Outpost Foxtrot 7, part of NASA's Deep Space Sensor Array, detects an anomaly in the fabric of space. Alarms go off, and sleepy crewmen stumble to their duty stations. Scientists study sensor readouts with a sudden sense of urgency. Something is making a faster-than-light transit jump into Earth's solar system. Seconds later, an enormous object blinks out of tau space just outside the orbit of Pluto. The artifact is gigantic. It's more than 6 kilometers long and has a mass in excess of 3 million tons. That's pretty big. Any second now. The artifact ignores all attempts at communication and holds position quietly and enigmatically. It seems to be waiting for something. When news of the artifact's appearance reaches the Earth, the United Nations enters emergency session. The Earth's population watches and waits with growing fear. Is it a ship? If so, who is on board? They could be the Hichi, representatives of the benevolent civilization that left humanity a high-technology treasure trove when they vanished 500,000 years ago. Or they could be the Hichi's ancient enemies, a deadly race known as the Assassins who routinely wipe out entire civilizations. Meanwhile, August 15th, 2112, San Francisco. While the UN deliberates and the rest of the world races close to the edge of panic, you ignore the hysteria and continue to enjoy your early retirement from life of a gateway prospector. The $50 million bonus from your last mission ensured a comfortable existence. You've invested that money well, and you lead a quiet and prosperous life. Do I want to restore? No. Living room. Yes, this is a text adventure. I am LPing a text adventure. Are you excited, folks? I'm excited. I loved this game as a kid. I had it, and I've been wanting to LP it for a while now. It's not as long as my previous games, so it should be a fun LP. As I said, I'm doing things a little bit differently. I'm using the internal DOSBox recorder and Audacity from my own voice. Hopefully it will all work out okay. So let's get this thing going. So living room. This is one of your primary residences, a 95th floor penthouse unit in the Bayside condo building in San Francisco. The living room of your condo is furnished in a clean, uncluttered way. A white sofa faces the ubiquitous PV console. Next to the PV is the smart building control unit that regulates everything from temperature to the resupply of your kitchen. The bedroom is to the southwest and the foyer to the southeast. You see a control unit, a PV console, and a wastebasket here. In the wastebasket, you see some trash. Talking about things you see, let's talk about our UI. As you can see, I have a mouse. So we have our location, we have our day and time, we have a picture of where we're at. The picture is interactable. I believe if I click on this, look at the PV console. A PV console is set into the far wall. It is an old 2D flat screen model, devoid of the 3D tank and full virtual reality hookups that are common among the more sophisticated consoles. You specified the older model when you were having the place outfitted. You didn't want anything to do with full immersion VR after your last mission as a gateway prospector. It is currently in its dormant stage. It is displaying a tranquil aquarium scene. I have never played Gateway 1. I've meant to do so, but I haven't gotten around to it. But from what I've heard, Gateway 2 is better anyway. You don't need to know that much about the first game, though, to enjoy the second game. And as you can see, doing an action took 1 minute. Next thing. So here is our navigation UI. These are the different directions you can go. So you have southwest and southeast are active. Everything else you can't do. If I try to go north, you can't go that way. And it took up another minute of my time. There's also up, down, in, and out. Let's see. Here we have help, which just has a whole bunch of button options. Picture, which has the picture mode. Map, which sets it to map mode. Inventory sets it to inventory mode. Look just tells me about the room. Text just gives me only text if I want it to be a pure text adventure, but screw that noise. Anytime now. Half gives me a half bottom screen and gets rid of all the stuff on the left. I'm going to go back to picture mode with menu. Now this menu so I can actually control this entire game using only my mouse. Here is my dictionary of verbs. It is quite intense, and I will rarely use 90% of this. Here is my list of things that are in the room that I can interact with, including me. So if I wanted to, I could say, like, let's see, examine me. And you can use then to tag along other things. So I could say, then examine control unit, and do. So, you're a man in his 30s, grown just a little soft from a decade of easy living. You're wearing the original coverall you got from Gateway. It's a little threadbare, but you find it extremely comfortable. And then the control unit. An innocuous-looking square plastic box is mounted on the wall next to the PV. This is the Smart Building Control Unit, a combination sensor and computer that controls the condominium's temperature, monitors the home electronic system, and handles basic logistics such as ordering kitchen supplies and restocking the wet bar. It's also designed to sense fire and earthquake emergencies. Let's see, what other fun things can we do? I can break, I can brief. Huh. I wonder what that. I can check the credits. Credits. Ooh. Look, here are all the people. And that's great. Hope that does not use up a minute. I can cry. You let out a few heaving sobs. Now don't you feel better? I can dance. You move your limbs spasmodically for a few seconds to an invisible tune that only you can hear. I've never gone through all these things. Cast. What do you want to cast? Yeah, I kind of have to do this now. Cast, magic, missile. You don't need to use the word magic in this game. Aww. Dig. I can dig it. The floor is much too hard to dig up. Let's see. I can duck. You can run, but you can't hide. Date me. You doesn't want a date. Eat me. Wouldn't you rather be playing one of those Leisure Suit adventure games? Oh my. And you can turn the music of the game on and off here. Notify is used for score. I'm gonna pray. You kneel and say a few inspiring words. Now don't you feel better? So yeah, restart, restore, quit, raise, scare. Scream. You bellow until your throat gets sore. Oh, something's happening. The speaker on the PV console in the living room emits a series of chimes that you recognize as a priority override signal. You walk over to the PV and wait for the message to come through. The underwater scene on the large screen blinks out and is replaced for a brief moment by the Pacific Data Service logo and the words Priority Override in flashing red. A female voice says, "Your regional PV carrier, Pacific Data Services, is interrupting your access to the net for an emergency communication as authorized under FCC Regulation 2315-81. Stand by for an important message." Then a new image fades in. A man behind a huge desk, sitting in a majestic office in one of the 300-floor needle towers in New York. With a chill, you realize that you've seen this man before. He's a very senior executive at Gateway Enterprises, the largest and most powerful corporation in history. You met him once before on Gateway Station when you were given the assignment that almost killed you. You were lucky to return from that mission, a dangerous adventure that brought you into contact with an assassin and earned you a cool $50 million. The man has a slightly stressed expression on his face. He looks like he's just discovered that there was a mix-up in his dinner reservations. "Hello again," he says in a mild voice. "Long time no see. This is a one-way, non-interactive communication. The outbound circuits in your PV are apparently not working." He continues, "I'll cut right to the chase. We would like your help again." You start shaking your head. The man holds up his hands defensively as if he can sense your reaction. No, don't worry. This doesn't require any FTL travel. That's faster than light, in case you didn't know. Could also mean for the lose. Any for the lose travel. Activation of planetary cloaking systems, or encounters with the assassins. This time, we just need a little of your time. As you are probably aware, we've been working overtime on the situation created by the appearance of the artifact. We don't know if it is a Hichi starship, an assassin battlecruiser, or an asteroid with an FTL power plant. It is too far away to get any kind of visual on it. We suspect that it is a ship, but it is currently completely inert. It has not shown any sign of activity since its emergence from Tau space 2.5 weeks ago. It might be waiting for us to make the first move. It might be waiting for reinforcements. Or it might be waiting for, or it might not be waiting for anything at all. It could just be a damn piece of rock. Anyway, we've decided to act. The UN has authorized the corporation to send out one of our experimental pulse drive scout ships to meet up with the thing. On board the ship will be a designated ambassador from Earth. The ship is almost ready to go, on a pad at Romeo Delta 2. The interesting part is that the Phoenix sect, a cult of crazy assassin-worshipping fanatics, has killed our first choice for ambassador. The sect believes that the artifact is an assassin ship, and they don't want us heathens visiting a vessel crewed by their gods. About 18 hours ago, a sect hit squad infiltrated one of our compounds and blew Madam Ambassador, and themselves, into tiny pieces. This is bad news, because the mission was ready to go. Luckily, we have an alternate ready, and we want your help in preparing him for his trip. We have about a day to brief him for the flight. You need to tell him everything you've learned, everything you know about the Hichi and the assassins. A few hours with you is probably better in preparation than the orientation we gave the first ambassador anyway. I have assumed, perhaps rashly, that you will help, that you can leave right now, and that you will perform this service for free. I know your motivation in helping us with the other problem was more altruistic than financial anyway, and I think you have more money than you know what to do with. An Aircar will be arriving on the roof of your building within a couple of minutes to pick you up. Don't pack, this should only take a few hours. Thank you in advance for your help. The image of the executive disappears and the female voice says, "Your access to your PV has been restored. We apologize for your inconvenience." The fish reappear on the screen. Well, in that case, I should probably go take a look around the house before I leave. Let's go check out the bedroom. Bedroom. This is the bedroom of your bachelor pad condominium. An old-fashioned queen-size bed occupies the middle of the room. Two plain bedside tables sit on either side of the bed. The living room is off to the northeast. On the bedside table you see a matchbook, on the bed you see a newsfax. Well, let us take all. Do. I took a matchbook and I took a newsfax. Let's check out this newsfax. Read newsfax. I will type sometimes. Phoenix Sect demonstrations continue. Hundreds of thousands of devout Phoenix Sect Sect disciples continued their gatherings and demonstrations in urban centers all over the world. Police watched carefully as the disciples celebrated the arrival of the artifact and imminent liberation of the human race. The time is close at hand, said Amari Tanjan, one of the sect faithful in the crowd in Istanbul. The assassins are coming for us. We will be purified. Doesn't sound like a good thing. UN emergency session drags on. The closed UN Security Council emergency session on the artifact is now in its 15th day. Details of what is being discussed are not known, although the President of the European Community made this short statement to SNN. I have no comment except to say that we continue to confer with NASA ESA scientists, Gateway Corporation representatives, and other experts on possible courses of action. ESA? Isn't that the Electronic Software Association? Crazy. For entertainment stuff? No, maybe it's electronic. Doesn't matter. They make E3 happen. FBI accuses sect of causing Centodyne blast. The FBI has accused the Phoenix Sect of causing the explosion at Centodyne headquarters that destroyed the top 30 floors of the building and killed 1,421 people. Centodyne was targeted after it refused to yield the extortion demands. This is a clear pattern of systematic blackmail, murder, and extortion, said FBI Branch Chief Gregory Gillette, the best a man can get. The sect is clearly involved and continues to use these activities to supplement their other fundraising efforts, like bake sales. FBI Branch Chief Gregory Gillette, I cannot say his name. Gregory Gillette resigns under pressure. A tersely worded press release from the FBI announced the resignation of FBI Branch Chief Gregory Gillette. Sources inside the FBI say that the resignation is directly related to Gillette's investigation of the Phoenix Sect. Gillette himself could not be reached for comment. This is problematic that I'm having problems reading in a game that's going to be 99% text. Gateway Corporation expands role. The Gateway Corporation has taken over the NASA ESA manned space exploration program after intense lobbying of the UN. Santos Garcia, a media relations coordinator for the corporation, told SNN, "The artifact is the biggest thing to happen to us since the discovery of the assassins 10 years ago. We need a single coordinated response once our leader at the UN decide what to do about the situation." Phoenix Sect attempts destruction of shield generator. A group of fanatics allegedly belonging to the Phoenix Sect surrendered to authorities after attempting to destroy a cloaking system generator on Kaduna 3. In the operation that was described as brilliantly planned and executed, the self-proclaimed sect members stole a Hichi ship from Gateway, loaded a fusion weapon on board, and traveled to Kaduna 3. No damage was done to the generator, but the resulting explosion dug a crater nearly a kilometer deep. Whew. On that note, is there anything else interesting in here? What's that sculpture? Examine sculpture. On one of the bedside tables is a hideous old modern sculpture, a gift from the British royal family. It is one of the ugliest things you've ever seen, but you don't dare throw it away. Oh, something else is happening. The PV console in the living room chimes again. The familiar female voice says, "An individual who wishes to keep his identity confidential is urgently requesting an audio-only collect call. Because our outbound circuits are temporarily down, Pacific Data Services has decided to forward the call. And we will charge you every cent." A throaty whisper comes over the PV speaker. "Please listen very carefully. You are in great danger. A sect hit squad is on its way to your location. An ECM team has already disabled the outbound circuits of your PV and frozen the building elevators. When the hit squad arrives, they will reactivate the elevators and use them to reach your floor. They have instructions to kill you. The only way out for you is via the stairs. You must find a way to keep the elevators down and use the stairs to get up to the roof. The hit squad could be there any minute. You must hurry. Please heed this warning. I am an FBI agent operating undercover in a cell of the Phoenix sect. I am calling you on my own initiative. My requests to get official approval to warn you were denied. I don't know why. Either you are considered expendable, or the Bureau has been penetrated. Anyway, good luck. We all owe you one. The speaker clicks and the female voice says, "Call terminated." Part 1. Escape! So yeah, that's not good. So you wait until the PV has returned to its dormant condition, then return to the bedroom. Well, let's not return to the bedroom. Let's check out these outbound doors. So, the foyer. This is the foyer of your condominium. Because this is an exclusive development, you have your own elevator entrance. The elevator doors are set to a wall to the east, surrounded tastefully by reflective glass, also known as mirrors. The living room of your condo is to the northwest, and a hallway leads south. A small sign is mounted discreetly on the glass next to the elevator doors. Well, let's check out this sign. A small sign is posted near the elevator doors. It says, "Warning! Do not use elevator during a fire or earthquake emergency. If the smart building control system detects such an emergency, the elevator will stop at the current floor and lock in place until the priority alert is cancelled. In the event of an emergency, please use the stairs to reach the roof of the building for evacuation." Huh. Okay, well can we use the elevator? Elevator doors are closed. Let's open the elevator doors. You attempt to pry open the elevator doors, but you are not successful. Elevator button. Let us... Okay, let's push button. You push the white button. An impersonal female voice says, "The elevator is temporarily out of service. Bayside management apologizes for the inconvenience." Well, that's annoying. Let's try going south. Hallway. This is a hallway decorated in the same style as the elevator foyer. A door leading to an outside stairwell is set into the glass enclosure that is a twin of the elevator entrance to the northwest. A sign is posted near the stairwell door. Okay. A sign is probably mounted near the stairwell door. It says, "Floor 95. Notice. For your safety and convenience, the stairwell door will be sealed off unless an emergency has been declared by Smart Building System. In the unlikely event of such an emergency, the bolts securing this door will automatically release, and you should proceed immediately to the building roof for your evacuation." And we can try opening the door. Your attempt to pry the door, blah blah blah. Yeah, so can't open this door either. So we need an emergency. Well, the emergencies that it said was a fire or an earthquake. I can't really create an earthquake. However, probably could create a fire. So let us take the match from the matchbook. You pull the last match out of the matchbook. As soon as the stem of the match leaves the book, the head flares and burns brightly. The match is now lit. Great. Let us put the match in the trash. You drop the match into the waste paper basket. The refuse around the match catches fire for a few moments, producing a cloud of blue smoke. The little fire goes out as the smoke drifts lazily around the room, eventually reaching a hidden sensor and tripping the smart building fire alarm. A screeching howl fills the condominium, and a flat, computerized voice says, "Attention, homeowner. The smart building system has detected a fire. Please evacuate immediately." Your score has gone up by 10. Note you can activate and deactivate score change notification using the notify command. We will leave it for now. Okay, and as you can see in the picture, there is smoke. So, now I should be able to open the door. Open the door. You open the stairwell door. A tinny voice comes from somewhere in your condominium's living room. Attention, homeowner. The smart building system has detected a fire. Evacuate immediately. Okay, let's do that. Let's go up. You bound into the stairwell and scramble up 5 flights of stairs to the building roof. When you swing open the external door to the roof, you are greeted by a burly man in a Combined Military Force (CMF) uniform. He takes you to a waiting aircar. Your score has just gone up by 10. And away I go! Zoom! Now I believe if I hadn't solved that puzzle of, lighting the trash on fire in time, eventually the hit squad would come and kill me. The Aircar takes you south of San Francisco, following the Pacific coast. After a long ride at an altitude of 2,500 meters, the car begins a descent into a huge installation. You recognize it by the cluster of launch pads and towering launch vehicles. This is Romeo Delta II, one of Gateway Corporation's vast research and development centers. Romeo Delta II was built on what used to be the Vandenberg Air Force Base. Romeo Delta II is enormous. Scattered over several square miles are CMF military outposts, labs, administration buildings, communication centers, and the launch facilities for the orbital transfer ships that do the hard work of lifting payloads to the waiting space stations. That was wordy. After a long glide down, the Aircar lands near a multi-story bunker-like structure identified by a sign as Research Center Building 1. You follow the quiet CMF escort into the research center. After a brisk walk through several laboratories, the CMF MP motions you into a conference room. You cool your heels for more than 2 hours before you are joined by a harried-looking woman. She moves over to the display screens on one side of the room. I'm Marie Claire, a Gateway Corporation senior scientist. I'll give you some background info before you brief the ambassador. A ship equipped with a fusion pulse drive is sitting on Pad Tango 3. This vessel can maintain a constant 1g acceleration, which means it is quite capable of reaching points outside the solar system in a relatively short time. The ship, called Aquila, is what the ambassador will use to rendezvous with the artifact. She continues. The trip to the artifact will take about 4 months. The ambassador will spend that time. She pauses as a strange barking alarm goes off in the laboratory outside, followed by the buzz of excited voices and the sound of running feet. Marie frowns and heads for the door, throwing a rush, "Excuse me, something's up," over her shoulder as she leaves. 20 minutes later, she's back. She looks terrified. She sits down across from you, her hands shaking. "I'll make this quick," she says in a distressed voice. "You came at a very bad time. This complex is under attack. We've been gassed. While you've been sitting in here, some kind of nerve agent has been released across Romeo Delta II. Almost everyone is dead. We have been incredibly lucky. This part of the lab building is a positive pressure facility, which means that it is temporarily resistant to gas. We don't have much longer, though. At some point, the gas will seep into the building. I think the attackers are Phoenix Sect. We know they want the Aquila ship. They want to get to the artifact before anybody else, and the Aquila probe ship is the only human-built vessel capable of reaching points outside the solar system in under a year. We have to keep that ship out of the hands of the Sect. There's an auto-launch program on the mission control computer that will fuel the ship, activate the onboard autopilot, and trigger a liftoff. If the probe ship is launched in this fashion, it will fly to the artifact on autopilot. The alternative is to destroy the ship so that the Sect can't use it. An auto-launch is better. Marie writes something on a piece of paper. The auto-launch authentication is... The door to the conference room bursts open. A figure dressed all in black and wearing a gas mask appears just inside the room. He's holding a radio and a gun. The gun snarls and flashes brightly. Marie is thrown out of her chair as she is struck by a cloud of steel flechettes. The attacker runs into the room and his gun swivels to cover you. The man's finger tightens on the trigger, then pauses. He lowers the gun slightly and speaks into the radio in a harsh, clipped voice. "Looking Glass, this is Mock Turtle. Building 1 in Wonderland, Sector 1 is secure. I'm the only survivor of my squad, but all the Charlie Mikes are down and all the civvies are down except for one. The last civvy is the guy the hit team was supposed to plug in Frisco. What should we do with him?" The radio crackles. "Looking Glass to Mock Turtle. Waste the civvy and then sit tight. Good work. Sorry about your men." The terrorist looks back at you and raises the gun. You flinch as the gun explodes in an orange flash. It takes you a moment to realize that the flash wasn't a shot. The gun literally exploded in the terrorist's hand as it was hit by a bullet from outside the room. The explosion is followed by 2 sharp cracks from just outside the conference room. The black-suited attacker is spun around by the impact of high-velocity slugs and drops to the floor on top of Marie, his radio dropping to the floor nearby. Your combined military force escort pokes his head into the conference room and waves an assault rifle in the terrorist's direction. "You'll lose," he hisses at the terrorist's body. "All the Charlie Mikes weren't down after all, you son of a bitch." He looks at you. "Hey buddy, it's a damn war zone out there. You better sit tight in here." The soldier runs off. He's a cowboy. And here we are. The laboratory conference room is a utilitarian area outfitted with a conference table and twin display screens. The exit is to the east. White lab rats run tirelessly around the series of cages set into the wall across from the table. You see a radio, a dead terrorist, and a dead scientist here. On the table you see a slip of paper. The dead terrorist is wearing a gas mask and a utility belt. On the utility belt you see a hand grenade. And just for the fun of it, eat dead scientist. Okay, the radio crackles. "Looking Glass, this is Cheshire Cat. The drones have achieved blanket coverage of Wonderland. Cameras aboard the RPVs are showing very high casualty rates. We estimate that 75% of the Charlie Mikes are down and that 95% of the civvies are down. All baseline objectives have been reached." And on that note, I am going to save and call it a game. So, I hope you're enjoying it. I know I am. And we will continue this later. Ta-ta! I'm playing a game!